Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, please go to YouTube, Facebook, Ustream, MySpace. And in the search field, type in capital letters, RBRIMO. That stands for Ronald Berry Robinson, In My Opinion. That's capital RBRIMO. We have a wonderful show in store for our millions of viewers worldwide. First, let me introduce my very capable co-host. We have Mrs. Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ronald.
Hi, Denise. We have Mr. Henry Hatter.
Ron, Denise.
How you doing, Henry?
Oh, Ron, congratulations on your son's new opportunity in the movie industry.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hatter. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say welcome to our millions of viewers worldwide. Let's talk about Pope Benedict XVI resigns due to homosexuality in the Vatican. The head of the Roman Catholic Church, Benedict XVI, has not resigned voluntarily. The real reason for the early retirement of the Pope is a series of scandals that have occurred in the Vatican recently. In particular, in the middle of December 2012, Benedict XVI received a 200-page report on the blackmail of high officials who had been found guilty of homosexuality. The document, Italian publications say, contained incriminating evidence against several Vatican cardinals. Moreover, some cardinals are suspected of corruption. The Vatican has not commented on this information yet. Their press attaché of the Roman Catholic Church, Federico Lombardi, only urged everyone to mind their own business. Meanwhile, according to unconfirmed reports, the Vatican has already set up a commission under the chairmanship of Spanish Cardinal Julius Haramosan to investigate these facts in the Italian media. However, Benedict XVI does have health problems. Italian journalist and expert on the Vatican, Marco Tossati, learned that the Pope was suffering from high blood pressure and went nearly blind on one eye. The Pope suffers from sleep disturbances. He fell off his bed several times during his trip abroad. He walks with a cane at his residence because of the pain in his hip and knee joints, the journalist said. I guess I would have fell off the bed too if I had aches and pains, if I was doing all that partying and pole dancing in the Vatican with young boys. This is a world disgrace. The question, will the newly elected Pope put an end to pedophilia in the Vatican as well as worldwide? The new Pope is Pope Francis. Henry, what is your thoughts?
Ron, I'm both pleased with this and I'm saddened by it because I think that this alludes that Pope Francis himself is associated with homosexuality, when in fact the facts show that it's cardinals that are involved. One. And I don't think that the Vatican can eradicate homosexuality. But I think what the Vatican needs to do is to minimize its impact. We're always going to have these nuances or these issues. No matter where you find them in human society, they're always going to be part of us because we're human beings. But so I think there's hope that the new Pope, Pope Francis, will take a jaundiced eye at these practices and will try to resolve them. But there may be so much inertia over the billion Catholic people in the world that it may be hard and unrealistic for us to go and say, Pope Francis, go out and do it or else. We have set him up for failure. So what we need to do, we need to hope that he can reestablish practices that will minimize the practice. No pun intended. So that's where I am right now. I don't think that we should condemn everybody in the Vatican because everybody isn't there.
Well, I'm not attempting to categorize all the people in the Vatican, nor all Catholic priests or the Catholic or the people that worship the Catholic faith. It's just that because pedophilia is running rampant in all religions. I want to make that clear. Okay. All we have to do is watch the television and pick up the nearest newspaper, and we'll see this this foolishness. Denise, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think I'm going to take a more radical view in terms of what I think needs to happen in the Catholic Church. They need to maybe look at, number one, this call for so-called celibacy, okay, as a member of their clergy. It hasn't worked, isn't working, it's not going to work. And I think that they need to look at it fundamentally as maybe setting people up to express their sexual urges in ways that are not healthy. So therefore, that needs to be something that the church themselves are going to have to come to terms with, because to me, it's not working. So the other thing that I think needs to take place is there probably needs to be some kind of psychological or psychiatric evaluation for some of the people who have decided that they want to go into being a cleric under that religion. And the reason why I say that is that there are a lot, if truth be told, have already had traumatic experiences through rape or whatever as young boys, and have moved into becoming pedophiles themselves as a result of their experiences. So in order to look at this, like I said, there's no one simple solution, but I offer a couple of solutions in terms of revolutionizing the way they view their positions in the cleric. They need to really take a look at, why is it that you want to do this? Anywhere in the Bible, as this is under a Christian faith, okay, and there is nothing in the Bible that I read that says that a bishop or a pope or anybody in that category has to be a celibate person. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't read that way. Okay, so those are the concerns that I have. I think that we don't want to judge everyone that is Catholic, or condemn everyone that is Catholic, but certainly it puts a very disparaging flavor or a very disparaging, testament right now as to how they're being viewed, because there are certain individuals who choose to do this, and they do this under great pomp and circumstance, because as you notice, when they were going through the whole changing of the guard, if you will, and they brought in Pope Francis, I mean, they were in there and sequestered for a period of time to figure out who was going to be the next person. They had some ideas and what have you, but yet this was a very closed process. And we don't know what they were doing in there. We could think all kinds of things, but we don't know. And we can understand secrecy to a point. But all of that evokes negative comment. It makes people think, what in the world are you doing? Okay, and then you still come out with these different situations where, children are being abused. And older people are coming out talking about, as a young person, they were subjected to this kind of thing. So my position again is that they need to take a look at it from a couple of different perspectives.
Denise, I just have to smile. You brought a smile to my face. You say they're behind closed doors, and no light's in, no light comes out. You don't know what they're doing. Sounds like our federal government, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like General Motors Corporation. We have these special things that do where they let no light in and no light out. So I have no argument with them being sequestered like that, but it's kind of comical. And you brought in, I never thought about that before, but what a profound thought that was. Maybe since the church, when it was first established, they established it with, can't think of the word that I use all the time, but it's not coming to mind right now. But it's something that defines an act or a process or a rule, and it cannot be changed. The word it doesn't come to me. And the church, in its beginning, declared that these were the orders.
Canon, perhaps?
The canon is not it, but it could be like a canon. But it's, this is hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. From now on, the church will operate within these parameters. If you hope to be a cardinal, or a pope, or a leader of a parish, you will not marry, you will have no sexual activity with anybody. I'm sure that's part of it. I have not seen it. And that's great.
But that's not normal.
But Denise's point was, is it realistic? That's the question. Is it realistic? I don't know. But the chances are, you probably put your finger on something. If you're a normal human being, if you lived all your life as a man or as a woman, you have these impulses, you have these internal things that nature call on you. So that's a good question to argue, to take care of this argument further. But as we know, the Vatican is very authoritative. It is regimented. It is stable and rigid in its rules. That's why it's lasted 2,000 years. It's that rigidity. And the church carries a fundamental good to it. It brings people together. There are other things that are good about it. But I think you ask a question that's fundamental, and Christ is not here to help us resolve it. So in our best ways, that's the argument that you've got to carry forward and hold to. Because I think you're right. What do you think? Does it make sense?
Well, you know, my feelings on this is like, you know, I'm an agnostic. All right, now there's different opinions. You know what I mean? We've all shared different opinions, and that's why the show is called "In My Opinion." All right. I don't subscribe to pedophilia in any shape or fashion, form.
The question though is this practical? Can we hold people to celibacy?
My answer would be no. I don't believe so. All right, because you know that's human nature. Okay.
But you don't have evidence to support it. Well, I sound like the press, don't I?
Well, you are the press. You are the press. We're trying to enlighten, our viewers out there. You know, I mean, they have opinions just like we do, and there's probably thousands out there saying, "What the hell are they talking about?"
Right.
Well,
I don't believe
great discussion.
It is, but it's a question. It's a question that needs to be raised because I'm thinking, You know, unless someone who has been physically altered, okay, whereas they don't have a desire, then that's an innate part of your humanity, okay? So if you have not been physically altered, then you still have to deal with those impulses. And so what do? And I understand, you know, from what I've learned about people who are living that lifestyle of so-called celibacy, you know, they're reading, they're studying, they're meditating, and they're praying, okay? And maybe they do that for a very extended period of time, along with other activities, okay? But at some point, the desire arises, and they have to deal with that. They have to deal with that. And most times what they deal with is hypocrisy, because they do what they do, and then they hide it.
Well,
They fall short.
What I'm thinking about, I want to just cite some evidence that perhaps we've all experienced that would give some credence to what you argue. There are times when, just of no volition of our own, we have dreams. And these dreams where you don't engage in any physical activity, but the results are the same.
Right.
Yeah, and that would
So
probably
how
be
do
a no-no. You know what I mean?
No, this is nature.
Right,
Nature.
exactly.
And
You're talking about a wet dream.
yeah, now
Something.
we don't want to. We got an audience out there that's complaining about young people and so on and so forth. This is a clean show,
Okay.
but it does make sense, doesn't it? You do go through these, and there's got to be some physical reaction or some psychological reaction to it. So you've got to be aware of it and how it makes you feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you see things in books or magazines or, you know, on TV.
But
I mean,
then
things are so explicit
not-
nowadays.
Yeah, but that's not part of celibacy. You're not supposed to be engaged in it. But how can you prevent it if nature does it for you?
You can't.
Well,
I don't. I mean, that's just my
well,
opinion.
yeah, and
That's an argument
that's
for
the
your
argument.
argument.
Yeah, that's the argument. So
Is it
therefore,
possible?
you know, we need to take a look at that, and you know, and for those who are practicing Catholicism, you know, that whole organization from the Vatican needs to take a look at how this is affecting folks. You know.
Maybe we could have someone from the clergy call in and have a discussion with them. to explain
Absolutely,
this to them.
absolutely.
Because, like you said,
But if we do that, we got to hold them to the feet to the fire. You know what I mean? Because you know, my past experiences with certain religious
No, we want to be
figures.
Catholic.
You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, we
okay.
want Catholic people
They want to, you know, they want to
responsible.
straddle the fence and you know and things of that nature.
Because the Protestants are not under so much scrutiny, but you know, we should have a Catholic person, an authority, a subject matter expert.
Right.
Talk to us either by phone or talk to us. Come and join the show.
Sure, absolutely.
Can we do
absolutely.
that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What do you think, Denise?
I think it would be excellent.
Because otherwise, we're just blowing smoke. We don't know
Well,
what
put
we're
the
talking
call
about.
out.
Well, we can do that.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
put the call out. You can do it now.
Okay.
Ask Catholics to join. Priests.
Any
Anybody
priests that
who feels
would like to come on the In My Opinion show and to discuss celibacy or you know within the Catholic Church, you're more than welcome. Okay.
Give them the number.
You can reach us through In My Opinion, rbr@att.net, or you can call us at 1-734-218-2115.
And you would be an honored guest. We will treat you with dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's not a matter of putting you down or finding fault. We want to know as much of the truth as you possibly can share with us. Okay. Let's change gears here. By 2040, whites will no longer be the majority. The country will exceed 400 million people. What should women and minorities be doing now in anticipation of this population change? Henry, what's your thoughts?
Ron, I don't think it's just women and minorities, but it's that what conversations should we be having? Should be on this table right now. We have discussed this at least 2 or 3 times, just kind of lightly. But we've seen no response. We've seen nothing from the public. We've seen nothing from schools. We've seen nothing from public institutions or from the legislatures or the courts of the United States. There's nobody even discussing it except us. But right now, we know there's studies out there to show this. And yet, I am just surprised, and we need responses from whites. What discussion should they bring to the table right now while they have a chance to maintain control? You know, because I think that everybody wants control. And of course, they have it now. But they got to sit down and devise a plan to come to the table with it, to talk about when we have population shifts about 40 years from now. And we need to hear from African Americans who will form that other big component. And thirdly, the Hispanics. And over that time, whites will lose arithmetic and political control of the country to people of color. And there's a lot of regret and anger out there by some of these constituent groups. We need to sit down and talk about those kind of things now, rather than let those be a surprise to us when the time comes. We could destabilize the country by not engaging in these conversations now. And I believe that if we could get people to talk about it now, we would make it a smooth transition into this paradigm, and yet maintain ourselves as a free and democratic society. Without it, and particularly as we continue to lose our resources declining. When resources decline, people get ugly by groups, by race,
right.
and by cultures. So we need to start talking about that. And I would ask you again to appeal to some of the people in the courts and the clergy and all of those component groups who have the authority. They are the leaders, and they need to demonstrate their ability to lead by coming here and talking to us on that. In my opinion,
It'd be wonderful.
I think it would be wonderful too, Henry, but I also believe that, unlike yourself in terms of you're surprised that we're not hearing much about it, I'm not surprised. I'm thinking that is probably by design, because when a person or a group of people are in a position of control or leadership, they don't necessarily want to talk about succession plans if they like where they're at. Okay, so I think it's by design. I really do. And I think that with us as probably one of the few talk groups that are at least exposing the idea to people, this will give folks who listen to the show, watch the show, an opportunity to start having conversations relative to what does this mean to us? What does it mean as an individual? What does this mean as a cultural group? How are we going to fare? Are we going to be prepared? Are we going to be educated? Are we going to know how to deal with resources, natural and otherwise? These are great questions. But if you're asleep at the wheel, you're not going to know what to do.
Right.
Okay.
And also too, I think right now, okay, we're witnessing an entrenchment. All right. By the powerful the whites. All right. They're taking stuff away. All right. They're enacting new legislation. Okay, with anticipation. All right, of the shift, in my opinion. All right. See,
that's dangerous, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
Yes, it is.
It drives the paradigm shift.
Right.
People will be very animated.
Right, and see, and so here we go again. Here we will be like South Africa, where there's 10% population that rules the 90%.
Exactly.
And so, before that happens, then it's incumbent upon everyone to understand the shift and how it's going to affect them and be able to sit at the table.
The American Constitution has opened the way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a living Constitution to make this transition. So, Ron, you need to ask them to come on the show. Anybody from, again, those four faces of people, public policy, but we need to hear from somebody. Schools, we need to hear from churches who should have a role in this, because they are skirting their role if they don't come and talk about this. This is very important to the stability of the country,
Sure.
to the welfare of their children, and to the betterment of humanity.
And we're certainly appealing to those that that are concerned about this subject matter that we're discussing. Again, please, give us a call, 734-218-2115, or email us at inmyopinionrbr@att.net. You're more than welcome. We're not going to try to pigeonhole you. All right, we want to get your opinions. Okay, this has been a very wonderful conversation. I want to thank our millions of viewers worldwide for watching the In My Opinion show. I want to send thanks out to our technical staff, as well as my co-hosts on the In My Opinion show, Mr. Neesmith Allen, the diva, and Mr. Henry Hatter, the thinker.
Thank you, Ron.
Oh, I'm not a thinker?
Yeah.
And a thinker. Okay.
I caved in twice to it. 2 or 3 times to make to it.
So until next time, stay focused.